here. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm just going to cut her perimeter. Make sure that my fingers are nice and straight, and clean everything up. Now the next thing we're going to do is now I'm going to start layering. And there are two main round parts on the head, which are the parietal ridge and the occipital bone. So since she has such a fine texture of hair, I'm actually going to start my laying right here at the parietal ridge. So I'm actually going to use the head shape to create my layers. So I'm going to start right here in the center. Take about a ½ inch to an inch section. And I'm going to lift up over direct. And again, like I said, I'm just going to use the shape of the head to create what I need. I'm going to go ahead, start my layering, keeping my fingers straight, and working all the way to the top. Okay, so I'm just going to explain what I did here in the back. So what I did is after I cut the round layers, I'm going to do something, and what it is you fanning out the hair. So I'm going to take this section here, and I'm going to face my palm out. Take it, and then twist my fingers in, and you see how you get a nice round shape? And that way I can texturize, check it, and just clean it up, and that way it just falls nice and round. Okay? And you can see here the way that I parted her top is I went just straight from how she normally wears her hair, from her parting. So that way I can actually cut her hair towards her parting, and we'll talk about that when I get there. So now what I'm doing again is I'm just doing my round layers, and I'm just following all the way to the front, taking about the amount off that we discussed. So there are many different ways you can actually section for a bang depending on what you're doing. And also depending even about the hairline here. Most people, when they have like a recession that goes further back, they like to do more of a curved sectioning. So that way it kind of fills that in. So what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to go from her parting. And I'm going to show you, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to over direct. And this is a very simple, very easy cut. So the point is, all you have to do is cut it once and you're done. Your bangs are done. Okay, so this will help you to work on your time, work on your speed, everything. So you can see that her parting's right here. Now can you see where my body position is? I am standing right where her part is. And I'm going to bring everything over here to me. So what I'm doing is I'm over directing this. So I'm going to converge, condense. Find out where I want to cut, where my shortest piece is going to be, and cut. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing, you can see, is I'm doing her framing, which is her perimeter layer there in the front. So,
tell me how come you stand on each side. What makes the difference and why you're doing that?
Okay,
because I saw her, she's cutting this side, but she's standing on that side, so I didn't understand why.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I actually want to leave her length there in the front. So what I'm doing is even though I'm cutting this side, I'm standing here. So I'm bringing the length to me so that way I don't tend to take it too short there and start cutting too far back and cutting into my perimeter in the back. So what I'm doing is I'm over directing it all, still giving her that layer, still getting that softness around that I need, but leaving the length as long as I can. Okay? And what I'm actually doing is I'm actually taking it all the way to the back here. So again, what I did here is I parted right here where she naturally parts her hair, and I'm going from her part. And that's something you always want to make sure, and you talk to your clients, find out, okay, now do you wear your hair off to the part, or do you toss your hair a lot? If they toss their hair a lot, then you need to go down the middle. What I did here is I parted from her parting, and I went all the way to the back here, and I actually brought it all the way here. What I like about that is it helps, it blends it all, and again gives it more movement down there at the bottom. So when she shakes her head, it all looks good. Gives a nice softness to it. So next thing I'm doing again, I just sectioned off And I've done my back, and now I've done my framing, so I have my guide there and my framing, so I want to make sure I don't go any shorter than that. So I'm going to start back off here, right there at the corner of the hairline. And again, start taking it round, and you can see right there at the corner of the hairline, now all of a sudden my hairline is shooting up. So now I'm actually working with less hair here on the sides than I have had in the back so far. So I got to make sure that I'm very careful not to take off her length. So I'm going to take a little bit of my guide there in the back, and what I'm doing is I'm going to do a nice point cut. And I'm just following the curve of the head and using the roundness to do it. Just point cutting and taking everything straight up, bringing it to the top, point cutting and cutting off the length that's not needed. So another thing you can do, for those of you that are having problem maybe blending your framing into your length, you can actually take this whole side section here. Take it, you see how I'm combing it just straight out? I'm going to take my palm, my fingers, and I'm going to place the hair between my middle finger and my index finger. Go out, and again flip, and look for any kind of corners that can be there.
Your bangs.
And that's how you can make sure that your framing blends all the way to your length. Okay, so everything looks good, and now I'm going to show you a few ways to texturize. So what she had talked to me about was saying again that she needs body movement. That's something we always hear from our clients. I don't want to take a lot off. I don't want to make it too short, but I want body. I need movement to it. And we know that her hair being as long as it is, there's a lot of weight to it. So it's holding it down. It's pulling it down. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take this whole top piece out, and I'm actually going to texturize underneath. Okay? So you can take this panel here, and here's just one way of doing it. Take your fingers, again, your middle finger and your index finger, place it in, okay? And I'm going to turn my fingers up, okay? Now the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm not going towards the hair's natural bend. So you see how I take my strand of hair, and I look for the natural bend. I don't want to go anything past that. If I go past that, a lot of times what will happen is the hair will stick straight up. Then you have all these little flyaways and all these little pokies. Okay, so I found it. So now what I'm going to do is start about right there, flip my fingers up. I'm going to take my shears. Now I'm not going point down straight towards them. I'm actually going to hold my shears more horizontal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip at it. So here you see I'm going across, and this is something you'll probably want to practice on your mannequin before you do on a client. And you see I'm not cutting myself. It's nothing that you're going to do. And my shears are barely open. I'm just barely moving them. Okay? So all I'm doing is just nipping. And that way what it does, it creates shorter pieces. And what the shorter pieces does, it actually pushes the hair up, giving it the lift that she needs. I'm going to show you one more texturizing though. Okay, another thing you can do is you can actually take this whole piece of hair here. I'm going to twist it. Okay, so I'm going to twist it, and then I can actually take my shears and just kind of point cut into it. You see that? Again, be careful where the natural bend is. You can even do that, or I can take my shears, open them, and slide and take off some of the hair there. Okay, so there's many different ways. And again, you see how that just lightens that up there a little bit, but not too much, leaving it a more thicker here down at the perimeter. So again, I'm just going to do a nice little recap. What we did here is we did a nice round perimeter with round layers, making sure to not take too much down here at the bottom because we want to leave it a little bit thicker here so it appears thicker. And what we did is we started layering actually at the parietal ridge. Remember, that's your main roundest part on the head. So we did that, gave her a nice side bang and some framing, texturized, and that was it. So I'm going to go ahead and please give her a nice loud applause.